Hello and welcome once again, and we're at Ballymore for the finale of the 2015 Tri-Nations Schools Rugby Tournament, and we're about to watch the final match of the tournament between the New Zealand schools in picture and just to their left the Australian schools. And the reason that all four teams are lined out is they are going to be introduced to the Governor-General of Australia, His Excellency the Honourable Sir Peter Cosgrove, who's a former rugby player himself. He played rugby for Waverley College and at Sydney University. And he's taken a great interest in schools rugby. And along with brother Bob Wallace, who's the president of Australian Schools Rugby, Peter Cosgrove going along meeting the New Zealand players. A great honour for these young rugby players who are the Wallabies and All Blacks of tomorrow. And Peter Cosgrove, a great supporter of sport and of rugby. A wonderful man, still has the common touch, although he's the most recent knight, named by Tony Abbott when he was Prime Minister. And now he's Governor-General of Australia. Australian schools and New Zealand schools have met many times over the years since 1978, and New Zealand schools lead the scoreboard 22-10. New Zealand, the defending champions in the Trans-Tasman Challenge, and won the last one in New Zealand last year by 34 points to 24. Now the Samoan officials being introduced. Good crowd here at Ballymore, the spiritual home of Queensland rugby. Many test matches have been played at this wonderful venue since it opened for the first match in 1968 when Australia played the New Zealanders, and there was a penalty try, a very controversial test, won by New Zealand. And of course in Trans-Tasman rivalry, New Zealand's always had the edge over their rivals, but the Australians this year have got a very strong team, and it's going to be a close and hard-fought match, I feel, between Australian schools and New Zealand schools. We just saw the Australian Barbarians defeat the Samoans by 66 points to 12. Well, on Thursday, New Zealand schools beat Samoa 67 points to 3. And that was the Australian second team. Australia defeated Samoa only by 39 points to 18 on Monday at Gregory Terrace in the second round of fixtures. Whilst New Zealand were pushed hard by the Australian Barbarians, 23 points to 22. So who knows? New Zealand schools captained by Peter Umaga Jensen, who's a nephew of the great Tana Umaga, the All Black legend. And he's playing in the centres with his brother Tom. They've also got a player, Caleb Clark, who's on the reserve bench today. He's the son of Ironi Clark, the All Black. Australian schools have got some pretty good breeding too. There's a lot of players there who've come from rugby families. Harrison Goddard, for example, the halfback, who represented Australian schools on the New Zealand tour last year. He's also a member of the Australian 7 squad for the 2015 Commonwealth Youth Games in Samoa, where the Australians took the silver medal. He exhibits speed, good footwork and a great pass, not to mention accurate goal kicking. And he's very proud of his Aboriginal heritage. His dad, Glenn, played for Parramatta and the New South Wales Waratahs. On the right is brother Bob Wallace from Waverley and St Edmunds schools, the driving force behind Australian Schools Rugby Union. And on the left is Sir Peter Cosgrove. The presentation of the trophy to the winning team will be made tonight at a function at St Leo's College at the University of Queensland, St Lucia. And also the Bronze Boot Award to the best players from each team. Now the national anthems of New Zealand and Australia. There's some big boys in that New Zealand pack. Remember that these boys are under 18 as at the 1st of January 2015. A good crowd on hand here at Ballymore for this, what should be a spine-tingling match between Australia and New Zealand schools. And of course it's during the Rugby World Cup, so terrific excitement, a few hugs for the Barbarians from the Australian players. They're wishing the Aussies good luck in this match against New Zealand. Always the underdogs Australia when they play New Zealand. But this team very skilled, well coached by Stephen Philpotts and managed by John Rounds from Knox. Stephen with BBC in Brisbane. And they play a very good brand of football. We saw an outstanding performance by the Barbarians today, and you're going to see just as good, if not better, football from this Australian unit. And the two teams in the huddle, the Australians on the left in the familiar green and gold, the New Zealanders in the black. And in a moment we'll have the traditional New Zealand haka. Tremendous rendition of the haka. This team coached by Dave Hewitt from Canterbury. The assistant coach is Mark Ozich from Southland High School. Carl Holtham is the physio.
Ladies and gentlemen, match officials on tonight's test. Man in the middle is Nick Berry.
And the referee is Nick Berry. I mentioned in the first game that Nick Berry is a former Queensland halfback, and he's taken up blowing the whistle. He's 32 years of age now, and he's one of the outstanding young referees that we have here in Queensland. There's a good crop coming through under the tuition of Scott Young, the former international referee. The assistants here are Jordan Way, who's only 20 years of age, but in his 5th year of officiating, and Tim Aistrope. And it's rather difficult lighting at the moment. It's a bit dim because the darkness is descending on Brisbane, and we'll have that half light before the lights kick in. So it might be difficult for the players to catch the ball from the kickoff, but let's see how they go. The kickoff taken by Will Tucker, big tall lock for New Zealand. He's from St Bede's College and kicked high. Pressure on the fullback coming through, at least it's the number 10 McGregor. He couldn't take it cleanly. It's on the ground and it's New Zealand ball. Over the top it goes. It's Tim Hogan, who was outstanding in their first game against the Samoans, and now the Australians use it wide. It's a good exit strategy by the Aussies if they can hold their passes, and the kick downfield, there's nobody at home. The ball might beat them into touch, and it does, but that was great tactics by the winger Dylan Riley from Southport, and terrific passing by the Australians to clear what looked a pretty awkward situation for a moment. They kept their cool and they held their passes. Now this is Safo Almua from St Patrick's College, throwing into the line out. The Australian locks are Harry Hockings and Ryan McCauley, but this is on the ground. And New Zealand have it. Picked up by Alex Fido from Scots College. He's the biggest man on the field, 135 kilos. Australia have it very close to the sideline. If they can keep it in, they've got a golden opportunity here, but the touch judge puts his flag up. And the referee has not heeded the flag. It's been play on. So it is a line out now, 8 metres short of halfway. This is Tom Horton from Joey's in Sydney. You look for Hockings or McCauley or down the back Reese Hewitt. And that's Harry Hockings. He lost it and snapped up by Isaiah Walker. Now watch him, number 4. He's a tremendous forward. Hard running, very tough and a great technician. Kicked across field by wise guy Fayani. This is Jaden Namanu, the fullback. He's electrifying. Knock on. We'll have a scrum. Australia's feed inside the New Zealand 22. Good opportunity here. And bad news for the Australians. A late withdrawal, Simon Kennywell, who's been absolutely outstanding at outside centre, the Newington centre. His partnership with Daniel England has been reminiscent of Tim Horan and Jason Little back in 1987. Caleb Clark. No, that's New Zealand. No, New Zealand schools it is. So it's Caleb Clark comes into the centres in place of Umunga Jensen. Peter Umunga Jensen's out. So I beg your pardon. The Australian team is just the same, but here's the ball going out in the centres to Daniel England. So Kennywell is still there with England. And it's a penalty awarded against the Australians, against the attacking side. So that was bad luck for Harry Hockings. He was underneath all of that. Was adjudged not to have rolled away. One of those 50-50 calls from Nick Berry. So here's wise guy Fayani. Don't you love that nickname? And he's a very good player. Great goal kicker. And like so many New Zealand fly halves, has all the skills in the traditions of players like Mertens and Dan Carter. Good high jump by Will Tucker. Hogan hoists it high. Underneath it, the winger Nick Juice tries to take it. It's bounced away from him. Good tactics by New Zealand. The Australians not good under the high ball so far. Fido distributes. Fayani kicks diagonally. Namanu's back there, waits for the bounce, slips over, and he's caught. He's got a player there with him. He slips it back to Dylan Riley, and the clearing kick is a good one. But, gee, that was a pretty tight situation for the Australians. Namanu slipping over at the crucial moment, but kept his cool. This team's very cool under pressure. So Caleb Clark, just repeating, is come into the centres. Outside Tom Umunga Jensen. Peter Umunga Jensen, the captain of the New Zealand team, is a late withdrawal. And Simon Kennewell is there for the Australians. So it's the New Zealand side that had this last minute change. We've just been informed of it, actually. So under pressure is Hogan, gets it away to Tom Umaga-Jensen. Strong centre. Just inside Australia's half. And referee was playing the advantage there, going back for the knock-on. This is a big occasion for Nick Berry too, the referee. This would be his biggest match, this international. Australia-New Zealand at any time is a big match. And Nick Berry, very inexperienced, but an improving referee. A big appointment for him. Big pack. This New Zealand, I was going to say All Black, they almost look like the All Blacks, the size of them. There's some big boys in there. Keep your eye on Alex Fido and Isaiah Walker, 3 and 4. Two real talents, and the big number 8, Marino Tu'u. Now Hogan feeds. Out to Faiani. Kicked across field. It'll bounce. It'll be an awkward one for Namanu. He can't get it. It's New Zealand's ball. Josh Mackay gets it back inside, but the flag goes up. Well, that was a certain try. Had the player not put a foot slightly into touch, it was the fullback, Josh Mackay. A lucky thing for Australia, but what a beautiful little kick over the top by Wise Guy Faiani. Perfectly placed. So all the pressure on the Australians in the first 10 minutes of this game. 7 minutes gone, no score. Wherever you're watching, this is the live stream by the Australian Rugby Union of the 2015 Tri-Nations Tournament. The final match. Australia, New Zealand. Harry Hawkins goes high. Kicked by Goddard. Taken well by Sevalani Reese. That's the right winger. TJ Vayenga. That's Umaga-Jensen. Cover defences across there. The skipper, Hewitt, wraps up the ball carrier. Now Hogan. Back to Tu'u. 35 metres out. Hogan, Faiani, again the same tactic. Well, it worked before. Why not go again? Taken, and the touch judge puts his flag up again. It was almost a repetition of the last one. The winger Nick Joost from Western Australia put his foot into touch. And probably just as well he did, because the Australians were a bit thin in numbers. Lots of tension. You can feel it amongst the crowd. There's a good crowd here, almost filling the old McLean stand. Although on the far side, it's not open, the eastern stand, so it doesn't look like there's many here, but there are. There's at least 3,000 or 4,000 people. Hogan. Back to Slade McDowell. Just taking it up, settling the play. In centre field, an ideal attacking chance for the New Zealanders now. That's Isaiah Walker. Hogan. Tu'u fends off the tackle of McGregor. Gains another couple of metres to the short side. That's the big prop Fido. 7 metres out. The pick and drive now by the New Zealanders. This is where they're dangerous. Big pack, close to the line. McDowell. Will Tucker. Out towards the centre of the field. Asafo Amua. They're edging closer all the time. The Australians desperate to hold them out. And they're all appealing to the referee, but they better get in there and start tackling. It's no good putting your arms up in the air. The referee's finally blown the whistle. Well, it was well executed, the pick and drive by the New Zealanders, but finally a knock on. And that must have been why the hands went up. The Australians saw it, we couldn't see it, but there was a little knock on. So vital scrum here. We've got the packs for New Zealand. Harrison Allen, Asafo Amua and Alex Fido against Harry Johnson-Holmes, Tom Horton and Joel Cashel. Harrison Goddard feeds the scrum. Number 8 comes off the back. That's Reece Hewitt, the captain of the team. Kicked out towards the sideline. Josh Mackay, a very capable fly half, utility, fullback, whatever. Whatever he does well. Very good goal kicker. Takes it coolly. Sets it up now for New Zealand. Once again, the pressure comes on Australia. That's Walker. This time it's Allen. Tu'u. Knocked forward by McDowell. Picked up by the Australians. In there was Robert Leota. Got possession for Australia. Now Namanu. A desperate clearing kick. Doesn't find touch. Sevaloni Reece takes the ball. Kicked across field. And will bounce into touch. That's Caleb Clark who executed that tactic. Seems like it's a certain tactic they've got to execute this little angled kick across, because we've seen 2 from Faiani and 1 from Clark now. Kicking to the open spaces, not running the ball. It's quite unusual for these New Zealanders. But they've been really well executed kicks. Now thrown in, and Australia get it through their lock. Harry Hawkins. Taken down. Goddard, McGregor. That's Jack Farrell. Back for the kick by Goddard, and it's a beauty. The little halfback. He's a terrific player, Goddard, but it's ruled that he was outside his 22. So we go all the way back. Might have been that the ball was passed back from outside the 22 into the 22 when he kicked the ball, but that's still ruled being outside your 22. So bad luck for the Australians. They come back to where it was kicked. And the throw in now for New Zealand through Almua the hooker. Tucker can't take it. At the back is Fido. He's got the rebound. Big man, very hard to stop. He's got an ankle problem, but you wouldn't know it the way he's running there. Look at him, like a runaway rhino. That's Almua. Bumping run, the hooker. 10 metres out now. They still work the blind side. Comes through Allen. Close to the line. Right on the line. Rebuffed by the Australians desperately. It's number 5, Will Tucker, who's pushed back. Now number 3, Alex Fido, has a crack. And he's over the line, but will be ruled held up. The referee right on the spot, and so it's a scrum. Heaps of pressure coming from the New Zealanders. 13 minutes gone, still no score. And this is so typical of New Zealand play. They're really testing the Australians. Energy sapping, pick and drives, scrums, rolling mauls. And the Australians so far have been up to the task. Coached by a former prop in Stephen Philpotts, the scrummaging very good. Tim Hogan, the halfback from Otago Boys High School, outstanding in the first match against the Samoans at Sunnybank Rugby Ground, that they won 67 points to 3. His partnership with Faiani was wonderful to watch. New Zealand ball, and the winger Vainga coming in, and he dives for the line. He's right next to the line. He's only centimetres short. A pick and drive. Fido is close to the line once again, but great defence. Here's Walker. The big man's over. Isaiah Walker scores the first try next to the right-hand upright, and it was just power that told on the Australians eventually. Relentless force from the New Zealanders. Big fellows. Isaiah Walker, one of the biggest players in the team. And he's a tremendous force in this team from Gisborne Boys High School. He gets the pick over, the pick and drive over the line, and scores the first try that makes it 5-0 with the kick to come. 15 minutes gone. Wise guy Faiani up for the kick. Well, the Australians' defence has been pretty good so far, but it was just relentless there. There were two others that went very, very close, and only desperate defence held them out, but eventually there was a little bit of a gap there, and Walker threw himself low. Good body height, 120 kilos. Shades of Grant Fox, this fellow. He's a terrific kicker, and we saw the New Zealand under-20s over here in Queensland recently. You know, Terry Black was just the same. He kicked 9 out of 10 in his first game. 7-0 the score. So can the Australians hit back? Haven't had much ball so far. Kick off. Taken by Umaga Jensen. Hogan will kick this. It's a set plan, putting pressure on the Australian back three. Taken by McGregor, that fly half, who was the man of the Australian Championships, judged the best player in the New South Wales team. Pick and drive by the Aussies, taking it up the centre of the field. Just testing the New Zealanders in the middle. It's been stolen by the try scorer. Walker gets it through Fido. Out to Umaga Jensen. He's got a little bit of a channel there, but pulled down. Good defence by the Aussies. Daniel England making the tackle. And it just seems there's wave after wave of black shirts coming at the Australians at the moment. Hogan, Tu'u. They can't go high on that big fellow. Marino Tu'u. 30 metres out now. Isaiah Walker, little pass, beautifully timed, comes through to Fido. Fido, the prop, running like a back over the corner. Beautiful offload. Lobs a one-hander back to a teammate. And they're only 15 metres out in front of the post now. Can they score a second try? But the Australians have got it. The turnover at that breakdown and the kick out towards the line, knocked back infield by Sevaloni Rees, the left winger. Straight up the centre, beats the first tackle. Ankle tapped and pulled down about 30 metres out. Now it comes back to Caleb Clark. Clark running across the field. He's running around in circles, in fact. Oh, what a crunching tackle on Umaga Jensen. Tenacious defence by Australia. There have been so many opportunities for New Zealand, but only desperate defence has stopped them. But here's a penalty almost in front. Against the Australians not rolling away, it was the prop forward Harry Johnson-Holmes. And so there's a chance for wise guy Faiani to increase the score, or will they go for the try? Now he's got the kicking tee, so they're not going to pass up the points. And with a kicker like Faiani, it's money in the bank from this position. And that'll make it 10 points to 0 if he's successful. New Zealand have won this match the last 2 years, but previous 2 years, 2011, 2012, it was Australia. Not much between the two countries at schoolboy level. Takes a long while in his kicks. A bit like Johnny Wilkinson. Oh, hit the upright. Most unusual for Faiani to miss from there. And well taken by number 7, Jack Farrell, on the ground. Got it back to Jack McGregor. The vice-captain from St Ignatius finds touch, 10 metres from halfway. Well, the gods are smiling on the Australians. That was what looked a gift, 3 points for Faiani. That's 1 out of 2 for him. So it remains 7 points to 0 after 19 minutes of play. 35-minute halves. Almua throws in. At the back, it's Tu'u. Back to Slade McDowell. Faiani's kick. High in the air. And allowed to bounce. Oh, that was bad. Risky play by the Australians. Just couldn't pick it up. And it's a penalty. And the Australians paid the penalty there for not taking the ball cleanly on the full. This is a calculated tactic for New Zealand, kicking to the Australians, and they've been found out. And why not? This time of day, it's difficult taking a ball in the half light with the lights just coming on at Ballymore. And there have been plenty of mistakes in taking high kicks or short kicks. So Faiani will have another shot for goal, I imagine, having hit the upright with his last one. Big weekend for sport here in Australia. Wherever you're watching around the world, we've got footy finals on, as well as Australia playing the old enemy England at the Rugby World Cup. We've got the NRL Rugby League Grand Final between two Queensland teams for the first time. It's the Brisbane Broncos against the North Queensland Cowboys. And in the AFL in Melbourne, Aussie rules, it's the West Coast Eagles from Western Australia against the Hawthorn Hawks. And of course, the final of the Australian-New Zealand schools. Flags are up this time. He doesn't miss too often. 2 out of 3. Takes the score to 10 points to 0 in favour of New Zealand schools. Jack McGregor restarting. Long kick taken by Vainga. The right winger kicks and finds touch. Didn't have much of an angle, but executed well. That stand is open, I see, so there's people sitting in the eastern stand. They're trickling in. A lot more over on this side, the McLean stand. So Tom Horton throwing into the line out for Australian schools. They've had precious few opportunities to attack so far. Harry Hockings down the back gets untidy ball, but flips it up for Harrison Goddard. He beats the first player. Determined little fellow. Now the pick and drive by the Australians. What a strong run that is. That's the new player, Robert Liotta from Thornbury High School in Victoria. Strong runner. Now Goddard, McGregor, juiced the left winger, beautifully tackled by Almur, the hooker. Goddard, that's Liotta again. Liotta hard to tackle, but right round the bootlaces, Harrison Allen, whose uncle's watching in Houston, Texas. Hello to you. I hope you're enjoying the coverage. That's Harrison Goddard again, darting through. The Australians getting closer. A couple of good pick and drives. He's finding a few chinks there. That's Harry Johnson Holmes. Goddard flipped it straight back to Liotta. It looked like it might have been forward, but the referee says play on. They're inside the 22 now, and that'll be a penalty. Reaching through was the second rower, Isaiah Walker. It was clear what he did. And so this is an easy shot for the Australians if they want the 3. But the skipper might decide, Reece Hewitt is the captain, that he wants to go for the try. Let's see. No, we'll take the points. Good captain, Reece Hewitt, scored 2 tries against Samoa, was outstanding in that match. He's from Nudgee College in Brisbane, who've supplied 76 players to the Australian Schools Rugby Union since it started in 1969, only exceeded by Joey's in Sydney from Hunters Hill. They've had 94 players. St Edmunds Canberra is third on the list. This is Harrison Goddard. Only 75 kilos, the little halfback. He's a good goal kicker. His first shot at goal. Yes, good kick. 10-3. So Faiani restarting. The tactics for the New Zealanders have been so good so far. They were rattled by the Barbarians in the second half of that match, outscored by them. Almost got beaten by the second string Australians. 3 tries to 2 the Barbarians scored, but it was Josh Mackay's kicking that made the difference. Faiani didn't play. That's Johnson Holmes. And New Zealand have got possession, but it's against New Zealand, the penalty. This is McGregor. Good kick. He's from St Ignatius College, Jack McGregor. He won the Ripper Medal for the best player in the New South Wales #1 team, who won the national championships. Good ball for Macaulay from the Scots College. That's Liotta. Big flanker. Goddard's pass. It looked like he wasn't expecting that, Farrell, but Jack Farrell runs it up gamely straight into the engine room. Goddard chips straight down the middle of the field, but the 2 players are back there, Reese and Mackay. And that's passed back in, so it's not going to be kicked out on the full. Now it's Goddard. This is McGregor. Confident runner. Good run from Johnson Holmes. Now Goddard. That's Kennywell, his first touch, Simon Kennywell. He's a good runner, but he hasn't had too many opportunities. And it's a penalty against the Australians. On the ground, playing the ball with the hand was Harry Johnson Holmes. Bit of a conversation about what they should do, and eventually they decide they'll kick for the sideline. Wise Guy Faiani's kick takes play inside the 22, where most of this match has been played so far. 28 minutes gone, it's 10-3 to New Zealand. They've certainly had a territorial and possession advantage. Up goes Tu'u, but he's beaten by Ryan Macaulay in the air. The Scots College boys taking it nicely. The box kick from Goddard, taken by Vaienga, nearly lost it in the tackle of Juiced, but did well to hold on. Tim Hogan, Wise Guy Faiani, again the same tactic, kicking in behind the wing, or at least tried to get in behind the wing. And it's kicked downfield. It's going to be very close to the sideline. It is into touch. There's a good kick ahead made by Dylan Riley. Followed up his own kick. The winger with the headgear. And that's the halfway line. Tom Horton from Joey's throwing in. At the back, it's taken nicely by Harry Hawkins. McGregor, this is Kennywell. They're on to him. He made some slashing breaks against Samoa. This is Reese Hewitt, the captain of the team. Goddard, McGregor. Using the New Zealand tactic, it's a beauty too. It's going to find touch, only 10 metres out. Well executed by Jack McGregor. So now the Australians get a chance to score a try. Jack McGregor started playing rugby at the age of 9 for the Wahroonga Tigers. It's his second year in the Australian schools team. Quick throw in, and it goes to Fido. The Australians caught napping there. They weren't watching. And Fido, with the speed of a back, the big prop forward, the biggest man in the New Zealand team. Box kick under pressure is McGregor, takes it well under pressure from Josh Mackay. And the Australians drive over, but they've lost the ball. Racing away is the big number 8, Tu'u. Tu'u is being collared, no, but coming across, he fends off a player, turns it back inside. It's going to be a try to Papali'i. It is. Dalton Papali'i from Kentigern College scores a brilliant try after a magnificent break made by Marino Tu'u. And across came Ryan McCauley, tried to take him, but went too high and got fended off. And he had the opportunity of passing it back inside to Dalton Papali'i, who goes in for the second try to New Zealand schools. Isaiah Walker scored the first, Dalton Papali'i the second. And it's 15 points to 3 with the kick to come to New Zealand. It's Tom Horton coming back slowly. He's been getting some treatment for an injury. See the speed of those two forwards. It's quite remarkable. So Wise Guy Fayani attempting his 4th kick at goal. He's kicked 2 from 3 so far. It's a good looking kick and it's straight through. Makes it 17 points to 3. 3 out of 4 for Wise Guy Fayani. The Australians really need to score a try to lift their game a little bit. They're a bit flat and they've been totally dominated in the set piece and the strategy of the game. This kicking ploy has worked wonders against the Australian schools. Difficult conditions, as I say, with the night lighting and plenty of muffed catches by the Australians of the high kicks. That ball kicked out in the full, so we come back to where it was kicked, just outside the 22. Horton throws in. At the back is Harry Hockings. His father Tom played for the Western Force. Now it comes across to McGregor, back inside to Kennywell on the inside channel, but the New Zealanders are awake to that. The Australians drive over the top, but they've lost it. Poor execution. Full credit to the New Zealand defence, it's been immaculate. Tim Hogan feeding. Wise Guy Fayani no doubt will kick to get out of this danger zone, but it's number 8 Tu'u who gives it to the halfback, and Hogan kicks, and it's a good one. Up to the halfway line. Scott Robertson coached the under-20s and they were very impressive too. They won the Four Nation tournament here in Queensland a couple of months ago. And Dave Hewitt is coaching this New Zealand schoolboys team. It goes to Fido. Awkward ball. Hogan. Fayani kicks it into touch and that'll be half time. with New Zealand in control at 17 points to 3. We've had 2 tries scored by them, by Isaiah Walker, the big lock, and the flanker Dalton Papali'i. The other points coming from the boot of Wise Guy Fayani, who's kicked 3 out of 4. The 3 points for Australia, just a lone penalty kicked by Harrison Goddard. So New Zealand scores 17, Australian scores 3. We'll be back in a moment. And welcome back wherever you're watching around the world. Our coverage of the live stream of the finale of the 2015 Tri-Nation Schools Rugby Championship here at Ballymore, the spiritual home of rugby in Queensland. New Zealand dominating proceedings here in this match, only scoring 2 tries to 0, but have dominated every phase of the match so far, particularly their tactics, where their big forwards have paved the way for some astute kicking, particularly the high kicks that have really tested the Australians and led to the 2 tries. The tries scored by Isaiah Walker and Dalton Papali'i. And by the way, the Australians were disrupted by a late withdrawal from Max Girdler, who had a throat infection and was a withdrawal this morning from the Australian team, which enabled Leota to come into the side. So here's the start of the second half. Down to Nick Joost from the Hale School in Western Australia, the only WA representative in this Australian team. McGregor, Farrell. Good defence by the New Zealanders. It's been really hard to crack. McGregor's kick out towards the sideline and far enough out so that there couldn't be a quick throw in. McGregor raced down, as did the second rower Macaulay, to stop the quick throw in. And Dylan Riley was across there too with the headgear from the far side, the winger. That's good play by the Australians. So this line out 9 metres inside Australia's territory. Almua throws in. Good ball taken down by Will Tucker, their line out specialist. And it bounces. The Australians have let too many balls bounce. Robert Leota picks it up from Thornbury High School under pressure. Comes back to Harry Johnson Holmes, the prop forward, back into the engine room. Goddard, the box kick, being chased by Robert Joost. And the ball bouncing all over the place, difficult to pick up. And here's a run down the sideline by Papali'i. Turning defence into attack, the New Zealanders yet again. Little chip over the top. The chance for the left winger Sevalani Reese, but good pass. Goes out to Namanu. He's electric on his feet, but this time gets it wide to Simon Kennywell. Kennywell runs hard. His ankle tapped though by Umaga Jensen. 5 metres short of halfway. McGregor. Jack Farrell. They take it up the centre. 10 metres short of the halfway line. McGregor's kick out towards the eastern stand touchline. Wise Guy Faiani with all the time in the world back there. There's no chaser. And he can pump it downfield, where it's passed back infield from McGregor to Joost. This is Namanu. Little chip over the top and the chase. It's into no man's land. Look at the speed of Namanu coming through. But back there is Sevalani Reese, who takes the ball, and he's pulled over the sideline by Kennywell. Crowd roared because they thought it was a high tackle, but it was quite legitimate. Hogan, and a penalty against the Australians was for a high tackle on the touch judge's report, as referee Nick Berry indicates. Tim Icetrope was the referee, the assistant referee that made the report on this side. Faiani's kick gains some 30 metres and takes play into Australia's half. The Aussies haven't played nearly as well as they did in the last match, but that's because they haven't been allowed to. New Zealand have really shut them out. Tucker goes high again. He's so hard to beat in the line out, like John Eales. Good, hard, straight running by Umaga Jensen. Very good centre. His brother Peter was taken ill before the game and didn't front today. That's Isaiah Walker. And Umaga Jensen was the captain of the team, but his replacement, Caleb Clark, has filled in admirably. Now it's Tim Hogan. Just sniping a couple of metres. Back it comes through Tucker to Faiani. Being chased across field. A good hit by the centre, but he got the ball away. That's TJ Vaienga. Australia's got the ball, but there's an offside against the Australians. Across the other side of the field. Bit of pushing and shoving between Tom Horton and Will Tucker for New Zealand. And that hurt Tucker. I think it was the hard hit that he got from Horton coming on the blind side. Took him front on. Nick Berry played a long advantage there, and it is a penalty eventually across almost in front, line with the left hand upright. 38 metres out. And Faiani can have a shot here. He's got plenty of power. It's 17 points to 3. Only 4 minutes gone in the second half. Hope you're enjoying this coverage of our live stream of the Australia-New Zealand schools match, the finale of the tournament that started last week with the first match at Sunnybank Rugby Club. Second round of matches was played at Gregory Terrace, magnificent playing fields in the southern outskirts of Brisbane. And now we're at Ballymore with a good crowd, wonderful atmosphere, great venue for these youngsters. Fierce concentration from Faiani, and the technique superb. He's only missed one kick, and that makes it 20 points to 3. I love the name Wise Guy. The kickoff going to Tucker. He's left on the ground. He got a bit of a knock. And it's a penalty to Australian schools because the ball bounced forward from Tucker's hands into the hands of Papali'i, and he was offside. Good refereeing, but the tall Will Tucker got a bit of a knock earlier on, as I mentioned, with Tom Horton, took him ball and all, and I think he ricked his neck. And once again, he's hit the ground heavily there. So the tall lad from St Bede's College, who's the line-out weapon for the New Zealand schools, might be in trouble. Very well coached, this New Zealand side. They really don't have a weakness, and it's interesting to see how well they regroup when they lose a key player like Peter Umunga Jensen, their captain, an outside centre, who teamed so well with his brother Tom. And Caleb Clark, who by the way is the son of Ironi Clark, former All Black, has come into the centres, normally playing on the wing, but he's really chimed in well. Tucker's okay. And it's Jack McGregor with the ball. McGregor from St Ignatius College in New South Wales, second year in the Australian team. Corley going high, good possession. The drive now from the Australians. But this New Zealand pack heavier, very hard to budge. The Australians still have it there, but it's gone to ground. It's become a ruck. And now they just pick and drive. The Australians yet to find an answer to breaking this New Zealand defence. They haven't tried the little chip over the top, which the New Zealanders have used, but they've got a penalty here. Quick tap taken by Goddard. Across to McGregor. Goes out to Namanu making the extra man. That's Dylan Riley, the winger. He's only a metre out from the line now. Jack McGregor. Inside to Reece Hewitt. Strong runner. Looks like Sean McMahon in his appearance, and he's lost the ball. It's been turned over, and breaking away is Umunga Jensen up to the 22 line. The New Zealanders have done that repeatedly. Their flankers doing so well at the breakdown. And here's Josh Mackay's kick. Not a great one, but it bounces awkwardly for the Australians. Knocked all over the place, picked up by Jaden Namanu, the fullback, but under a lot of pressure. The New Zealanders swarm in there, but it's still Australia's ball. McGregor, little chip over the top. That's the tactic. Juice comes racing through but can't get it. It's awkward for him. Picked up by Wasgai Fayani, who kicks downfield. Dylan Riley's there, takes it on the full. The winger sizes it up. Then he goes down the sideline, tries to beat two men, but is sandwiched between them. That's the halfway line. Goddard's pass, an awkward one for Harry Johnson-Holmes. The referees found a penalty, though, against New Zealand at that breakdown. Papali'i, the culprit. And good to see that change of tactics with a little chip over the top. It almost came off for the winger. Juiced coming through. So far, the bounce hasn't favoured the Australians when they have done kicks. So they've got a bit of territory now, the Australians. A couple of chances inside New Zealand's half. Long throw in. Off the back of Hocking's hand, straight to Alex Fido. And he's like a runaway train. Goddard goes low and brings the big man down. Now Hogan, Fayani. Again he kicks into the box this time. This one beautifully controlled. Little banana kick and made it bounce back the other way. Got all the skills, Wasgai Fayani. At the back, Hockings looks like he's going to go high, but up the front it's Hewitt. Good change of tactics by the Aussies in the line out. McGregor, Farrell, Namanu, up to the half, the 22. Jack McGregor's kick, under pressure. Quick throw in by Vaenga. Josh Mackay, beautiful silky runner. 10 metres inside Australia's half. Now they'll spin it wide. Isaiah Walker. That's TJ Vaenga, the right winger. Tackled by Leota. This is Fido. Loves to run with the ball. Look at that offload. Brilliant. That's Almua. Almua the hooker. Running like Hicker Reid. And he'll do what Hicker did in a test match and score a try. Brilliant running by the New Zealanders, and in particular the hooker Asafo Almua from St Patrick's College, Silverstream. He showed pace, swerve and tremendous football sense to score the try. Makes it 25 points to 3 with the kick to come. Well, you think normally when a hooker gets the ball, the backs will rope him in, but he stood them up and went round them. Brilliant run by Asafo Almua. And what about the offload by Alex Fido? Shades of Artie Beetson, the great Australian rugby league player, standing in tackles and just offloading to his supports. Brilliant play. They've got such skills, these New Zealanders. They're so well coached. They have all the basics. And when they play the Australians, they probe their weaknesses, as we've seen with the kicking. Fayani's kicked 4 out of 5 so far. This one the most difficult. Seems to draw an imaginary line from the goalposts to the ball, like a putt. And he hits him so well, but that one's pulled to the left and it's no goal. But New Zealand in control, 25 points to 3, 12 minutes gone, second half. Just when the Australians seem to be doing well, the New Zealanders counteract and hit back. As we saw then, the Australians have had a bit of possession, but haven't been able to capitalise on it. Hogan will go the box kick. You can tell the way he shapes himself. And he kicks it out on the full, but Gaines, it was touched by an Australian hand, I think. So it's a New Zealand ball. The try scorer, Almua, throwing in. That's the halfway line. Slade McDowell going high at number 2. Little chip over the top again. But that one only gains a metre or so. It goes out in the full, in fact, so we won't have any advancement for New Zealand. They're certainly using this box kick as a tactic. And Hogan against Samoa hardly ever did it. Now there's a push and shove between Johnson Holmes and his opposite, Harrison Allen. Well, really, Harrison Allen's at fault there because he's closing the gap between the two. And the referee should be the one to officiate to keep a channel. And good ball by McCauley. Goddard, McGregor. Kenny well left it behind. New Zealand's ball. Faiani's kick. Awkward one to take. Back there's Namanu. At least Leota. And it is into touch. Things getting a little bit heated out there, I think. And Jack McGregor's coming off. Number 22's come on. That's James Hawkins from Scots College. He's a centre. New Zealand get it through Tu'u. The rolling maul. At the back is Almua. Australia will have to stop them soon because the New Zealanders are dangerous in this situation. They take it to ground. That's the first problem solved for the Australians. Now the pick and drive. Big man Fido goes a couple of metres upfield. Hogan slips it back inside to Slade McDowell. He's gained a metre. Now Hogan. Wise guy Faiani kicking across field. Underneath it is the winger and Namanu, the fullback. And the ball's beaten everyone over the touch and goal. And it's a penalty for the Australians offside on the touch judge's report. So they're going to have another shot for goal, and Faiani, no doubt, will come up and take this. The kicking has been so well executed. That one contestable, that's for sure. And Dylan Riley was back there with Jaden Namanu, but only just managed to avoid the winger coming through, Sevaloni Reese. That's who it was intended for. And it looks like Isaiah Walker's come off. No, it's Tu'u. Marino Tu'u, number 8. He's got a big hand as he's come off the field and been replaced. And Liam Giltrap is on from Palmerston North Boys High School, number 20. Faiani's got 4 from 6 so far. Now he's missed that one, 4 out of 7. Namanu just lets them come to him, dots it down to Goddard. Short kick. Contestable by the Australians. And up goes Jack Farrell and gets it. Well done. Harrison Goddard distributes. That's Nick Joost. Good drive by the Aussies. A couple joining in to lend some weight going forward, but the referee ruled it was use it or lose it, and it was still a maul. So New Zealand get the put in. At number 20, looks like he's losing his hair at the age of 18. That's Liam Giltrap, the replacement, number 20. Can I see your birth certificate, sir? Now another player coming off the field. Looks like Tu'u. the number 8. No, it's not. It's Isaiah Walker, who's already come off. I beg your pardon. So 2 of them off. We'll get the other replacement in a moment. Another kick by Fayani. That's all he's done all night. And look at the execution. Brilliant. So number 19's on, Sam Slade. He's a lock from Mount Albert Grammar School. So we've got Sam Slade and Slade McDowell, number 7. And the Australians making a change too, with Jack McGregor coming off. And Sepesa Longa Tarongi coming on from Newington College. Sepesa's normally a winger. Harry Hockings. Goddard. Strong run through the middle, but poor offload. The Australians just spoiling good work time and again. There's Fido with the one-hand offload. This is TJ Vaenga, the right winger. And New Zealand so many times just turning defence into attack. Amunga Jensen goes to ground. Hogan, Fayani, Josh Mackay, wrapped up. Support there in Almua. Dancing run across field by the winger. It's on the ground. The Australians have got it. Ryan McCauley coming darting through. And nobody at home, so it's a good kick by Goddard. Good chase by the Australians, but will they get there? Yes, it's kicked ahead. Nick Just kicks it. He should know a bit about kicking. He comes from Western Australia, Aussie rules country. And also there was Sepesa Longa Tarongi, but it beat them into touch. So James Hawkins, number 22, is in the centres. Sepesa Tarongi's on the right wing. And Nick Just is just swapping with him. Sepesa's coming across. Looks to full back with Namanu over on the left wing. Untidy ball. And number 16's on, Tavita Unga Walski. Number 16 for Australia. Reece Hewitt's been relatively quiet in this match. He played so well against Samoan Schools, the number 8 and captain of the Australian team. Had very few opportunities to show his wares. He's a bit of a Sean McMahon style player. Very powerful, not overly big, but runs with great determination, good ball skills. This is a good scrum for the Australians. That's Hewitt off the back of the scrum. He's got support on the inside, but collared. Prop forward Cashel going in there to distribute. Just pick and drive by him. Over the top go the Aussies. A couple of metres gained by Leota. And look at that drive. That's good play by the Australians. Johnson Holmes was the one. Getting closer. They can't go the same way all the time, though. The New Zealanders will be awake to that. So back the other way they come. From Harrison Goddard. Comes out in the right wing to Tarongi. That's Just and into touch. Nick Just has come from the left wing to the right wing. And he almost got in there. So hello to all those watching in Western Australia, where rugby is like missionary work. It's Aussie rules country. Look at that throw in. Really good tactics by the New Zealanders. And you've got a player with such great ball skills as Alex Fido. Why not? Fayani's clearing kick is a good one. Kicks it into the bleachers, so there's no way that they can do a quick throw in. .22 minutes gone, and New Zealand leading Australia 25 points to 3. Another substitution. And Josh Mackay's going off, it seems. No, it's Tim Hogan. Tim Hogan's come off, the halfback. Australia's throw in. Macaulay goes high and gets the better of his opponent. Australia trying to drive this one, but fracturing. New Zealanders very adept at pulling the maul down. They seem to be able to get away with that. And every time the Australians try to drive it, they're met with huge force by strong New Zealand defence. Scrappy ball. Goddard, Joost, getting in each other's way. Hawkins didn't know what was happening there. The ball on the ground picked up by Kennywell. So they try again. Pick and drive this time. The Australians just seemingly out of ideas, resorting to the very basic principle of pick and drive. They've found this New Zealand defence just a black wall. It's impregnable. There's Leota. He adds a bit of punch. Now Johnson Holmes, strong leg drive, up to the 22. They need patience here and good execution. Farrell. Not entertaining stuff, but it's effective. Now Joost passes to Kennywell, who wasn't looking. Hit him on the shoulder. What is going on? He looked the other way. Terrible. New Zealand have won the turnover. 21's on. That's Parapara, the new halfback for New Zealand, replacing Hogan. That's Fido. He's been a problem. But brought down that time by Wolski. And a penalty to Australia. Fido very well tackled by Wolski, and he didn't release. So Nick Joost comes up to take the kick for the sideline. Australians might not win this game, but they'd dearly love to score a try. That's a good kick. Line out, 5 metres inside the 22. A couple of replacements coming on. Number 22 for New Zealand is, oh no, he's already been on. That's Caleb Clark. Looks like the others are coming on in a moment. 3 players coming off. Caleb Clark's coming off. So Australia in a good attacking situation here. If they can keep their cool and not make mistakes. And now they unleash it. Joost. Tarongi. Tarongi well and truly wrapped up. The New Zealanders trying to hold him up to get the turnover, and they have. It's happened almost every time a player goes into the New Zealand defence. They wrap him up, can't get the pass away. Good defence, particularly by number 12, Caleb Clark. His dad would be proud of him, Ronnie, former All Black. What number went on? We've got Takaji Young Yen going on in number 18. He's a prop forward. Interestingly enough, his cousin was propping against him against Samoa. Hadn't seen him since they were little kids. Mackay. Namanu, what can he do? He's an exciting runner. Links up with Tarongi, the Newington winger, close to the sideline. Australia's ball. Lonergan feeds. Well, Theo Strang it is. Theo Strang is on now in 21. He's a good halfback from Scots College. That's Reece Hewitt. Well, the Australians seem to be resorting to this pick and drive all the time now. They just don't seem to have an answer in midfield. Look at that pass. That's terrible. Nick Joost, who's normally a winger, probably not expected to take the role of first receiver or second receiver, but he is. And there's Strang's kick. Taken over there by Sevaloni Reece, and he's charged ahead. Kick and chase, and he's got possession, and he's got support there too, and there's going to be a try to Umaga Jensen. That's Tom Umaga Jensen. Well, what a pointless kick that was by the Australians, and how thrilled is Tom Umaga Jensen, who's defended really well, has had no opportunities in attack until then. But Sevaloni Reece, the kick, he caught the ball acrobatically, flipped it back inside. He did everything to set the try up for Tom Umaga Jensen, who owes him a favour. And makes it 30 points to 3 with the kick to come, and we've had 28 minutes of play. Fourth try for the New Zealand team. Xavier Numia has gone on for New Zealand, number 17. And he's a replacement front rower. Well, I wonder how Peter Cosgrove, or Sir Peter Cosgrove, I should say, is enjoying this spectacle. Tremendous football by New Zealand. Harrison Allen has been replaced by Numia. It's Xavier Numia. 4 out of 7 so far for Wise Guy Fayani. Good looking kick, and it's 32 points to 3. Four tries to none, pretty convincing. Who would back against New Zealand in any match? Even at the Rugby World Cup, where perhaps they're at their most vulnerable, one thinks. I'd say they're very hot favourites to win the trophy, retain the trophy that they won at home. Kick off, comes to Nick Joost. He takes it ball and all, but he's wrapped up by good defence, swarming all over him. And the Blacks counter-rucking. And they've got the ball in there somewhere. No, the referees ruled it was not forward. So it's Australia's put in. The big night tomorrow night with South Africa playing Scotland at the Rugby World Cup, and then Australia playing against their arch rivals England. A couple of us are going to be sitting up all night watching that. Because it's 1:45 a.m. Australian time, the South African game, and 5 a.m. the Australia-England game. So it'll be a battle, but it'll be fun. Tight head to New Zealand. Parapara. Fayani kicking again. And it goes out in the full. Does it? No, it's on the bounce. I think the Australian winger, Dylan Riley, was trying to fox the touch judge, but he couldn't fool him. And it was bouncing in the field of play. Fayani has simply not put a foot wrong. He's been impeccable. His options have been well chosen, and he's executed brilliantly. Throw in. Australia had it through Reece Hewitt, but he lost it. Went back to Isaiah Walker. It's been the story of the match, really, the number of times the Australians have had the ball and lost it. That's Papali'i now, the try scorer. Parapara works the short side. Slade McDowell lost the ball. Backwards, said the referee. That's Xavier Numia. Looking for try number 5 for the Kiwis, but it's a penalty. Not releasing. A tap kick taken. Well, the Australians expansive. Out along the backs it comes, and Kennywill slips over as he attempts to sidestep. Hasn't had the greatest game tonight. He played so well in his last match. Simon Kennywill from Newington. But you only play as well as your opponent lets you. Now, quick hands. Strang it is, feeding the backs and getting a good crisp service away. That's Tarongi. Australia has to resort to the kick. Strang. Reese. Mackay. Shaping as if to kick and then running. And look at the speed and the footwork. 10 metres inside Australia's territory. He's normally a fly half, but equally adept at fullback. Now they go wide. Umaga Jensen. That's Liam Giltrap. Australia trying to counter ruck here, but the New Zealanders too effective. Driving over the top. And the Aussies really putting their bodies on the line, and they have won the ball. Well done to the Australians. A tap kick taken again by Leota. That's Namanu. Interesting runner. Picked up by Dylan Riley, a beautiful pickup. The Australians showing a bit of talent here. Strang, juiced. Hewitt in centre field. Leota almost broke through, just ankle tapped. Now Strang, juiced. Out wide, Tarongi. There should be a try. Down the sideline, Ryan McCauley. He's got it down, and it's a try. Australia's finally scored, and it's the big lanky lock, Ryan McCauley from Scots College, who scores it. What he was doing out there, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that was him that went over in the corner as he comes back. Well, the Australians have worked so hard to try and get that 1 minute from full time, and they've scored the try that gives them some sort of pride anyway. It's 4 tries to 1, 32 points to 8. And the big fella coming back really absolutely exhausted after that effort. But he went full bore, and Harry Johnson-Holmes just consoling his mate. They didn't win the game, but he certainly could stand tall and be proud of what he did in the last minute of the game against New Zealand. The kick to come. It's 32 points to 8 at the moment. And they're rushing out to charge the kick down because they thought Nick Juiced had started his run up. He hasn't. Now he goes. And it hits the post and bounces back. Well, that sums up Australia's night. They've had so many opportunities, but because of New Zealand's skill and determination, they've been deprived time and time again. And full credit to the New Zealand team who won their 3rd Trans-Tasman Challenge against Australian schools in a row. They've emerged the champions of the Tasman with a win by 32 points to 8, scoring 4 tries, 2 in the first half, 2 in the second half. For New Zealand, we had tries to Aumua, Walker, Papali'i, and Umaga Jensen. That's Tom Umaga Jensen. The other points coming from the boot of Wise Guy Faiani. And for the Australians, we had a try scored by Macaulay in the last minute of the game. And the other points came from the boot of Goddard. So just the 1 try by the Australians. I hope you enjoyed the coverage of this live stream from the Tri-Nations Schools Rugby Championships from Ballymore in Queensland. Wherever you are in the world, thanks for being with us. See you next time.